Hello YouTube, Stuart the Sty 2000 Brooks here, and I'm doing a tutorial on how to play modded Minecraft using the AT Launcher's Resonant Rise mod pack. First thing you'll notice is that there are a few new items on the ground spawning. Those I'll cover a bit later on in this tutorial, but first things first. Ore doubling. Well, I guess it's tools first, then ore doubling. So, NEI is a useful tool, but it can't get you everything. Like, if I were to hover over clay and press R, sure, I get that recipe, but there are certain tools which, if this thing loads, there we go, don't actually have a recipe in NEI. However, they are easily crafted and easily repaired, mind you. Tinker's Construct is quite a useful mod in this regard, so I'm going to show you how to create these tools, starting with the basics. So first things first, you'll need wood. Yep, any log will do. For this we'll be using oak. Don't want to do that. Okay. To make the tools to create the Tinker's tools, like the the crafting tables, you need to create stencils first. Stencils are created like this. With sticks being aligned like so. Then you will want to create the tables by placing the appropriate block underneath. For a part builder, it is a log. For a stencil table, it's planks. For the tool, tool station, it's a crafting table or a crafting station, depending on which one you prefer to use. Crafting stations are quite useful, and I'll get into how they're used later on as well. And finally, you'll want to make a place to store the patterns you make for the Tinker's Construct stuff. And for that, you'll need a chest. Now, you may have figured out already where I'm headed with this, considering the fact that I use stencils already, and that they usually are used as, say, a blueprint. That is the case in this mod as well. Alright. I just want to show you some of the features of the Tinker's table. When it's right next to a tool station, you can see it has this. This is not normally part of the table, this little icon. This allows you to repair tools in the Tinker table. And when you place a regular chest next to it, double or regular, you have access to that inventory while using the Tinker's table. But now on to tools. turn any off for a second. As you can see, there are quite a few patterns to select. The first one you'll want to make is a pickaxe head, then a tool binding pattern. Tool rods aren't all important because you can use sticks. But I also recommend making a shovel and axe head pattern. Now, I usually use stone for my first tools, primarily because it's so common, and if you're in a mod pack that doesn't allow you to make stone tools, you can always use flint, which is made from gravel. I'll get into that more later. But for now, let's see, where's the cobblestone? There we go. Now, I love the stone-bound modifier simply because it increases the mining speed of tools the more damage the tool has. Now, this may be irrelevant to some tools, such as the mattock. It's quite useful in pickaxes. As you can see, this is the pickaxe pattern. It requires a tool binding, a pickaxe head, and a tool rod of some sort, which I'm using a stick for. And whoops. You don't really need to be on the page that the tool is on to craft the tool. And these 4 tools, mattock, shovel, pickaxe, hatchet, are the ones I recommend you craft. They serve the same purpose as their original counterparts, saving for the mattock, which is a combination of a axe, shovel, and hoe. The mattock cannot be used on gravel or sand very efficiently, or anything that requires an axe other than wood. For that, you've got the hatchet and the shovel. But the mattock is great if you're farming, because it's all the necessary tools in one. Now that we've got tools out of the way, let's introduce you to some ore doubling mechanics. Your first ore doubling machine is usually hand powered. In this case, we'll go with a grinder, quartz grindstone. This and the hand crank. If I'm spelling that right, I think. Okay, never mind. Wooden crank are used to grind ores into dust. This is not a perfect doubling system, as there is some chance of loss. However, it will still increase the output from your ores considerably so. So let's get some iron ore and show you how that works. As you can see, there's 3 slots up here, 1 slot here, and 3 slots down here. You cannot remove, without breaking the block, what's in this slot. And this usually has a 90% chance of successfully doubling the ore. As it did here. Now, another early game mechanic for doubling, usually once you've got an iron bucket, is the smeltery. It requires clay, sand, and gravel. Quite a bit, actually. as every because you have to make grout like so, or and then you have to turn that grout into seared bricks, then those seared bricks into a smeltery formation, which I will show you how to build. It is a multi-block structure. Multi-block structures are huge in mods. Several of them, almost all of them actually, use multi-block structures of some sort. So, let's get crafting a smeltery. Two stacks is usually enough to create your first smeltery. It's not a very big one, but it works, and it also leaves you enough seared bricks to make a tool forge, which is the next step up from the tool station. You will want to make the following: a seared tank, a smeltery controller, usually 2 smeltery drains, 2 seared faucets, a casting basin, a casting table, and enough seared bricks to create your the rest of the multi-block structure, which is 17 seared bricks. Now the easiest way to build this the way you want to build your smeltery is starting with a 3 by 3 platform of seared bricks. On the perimeter of that, 1 layer up, you want to place in any formation you so choose the smeltery controller, the seared tank, the smeltery drains, and the rest of the seared bricks so that it surrounds the 3x3 square. You do not need to fill in the corners. If you have done this correctly, you will notice that the controller now has the same animation as a furnace. Now you'll need somewhere to put what you smelt. For that, you'll want to place your casting table and casting basin underneath the smelter drain, and then attach a seared faucet to each of them like this. And it should be noted that by itself, a smeltery cannot smelt. You need to fuel it with lava by placing the lava in the seared tank. This can be done by right-clicking it with a bucket of lava. And as you notice, it now has 1,000 out of 4,000. This refers to the Minecraft universal fluid system known as millibuckets. Think metric. Milliliters is 1,000th of a liter. A millibucket is the 1,000th of a bucket. So it can hold 4 buckets worth of lava or any other liquid. So we're going to fill this up with 4 buckets of lava, because that's what a smelter needs to run. Next, you will need to create some casts. For this, you can use either aluminum brass or gold. Gold, you'll require 2 ingots worth to be able to create 1 cast. Aluminum brass, on the other hand, you will only need 1 ingot worth. So I will show you right now how to create aluminum brass. You'll need aluminum and copper. And it is on a 3-to-1 ratio, 1 copper, 3 aluminum, in which the alloy is produced. Let's see, where's a good copper ore to use? Yeah. No, I don't want that. That's dense. Here we go. That works. It doesn't really matter which type of copper ore you use because it's all ore dictionary convertible. Ore dictionary, a part of the mods that I'm showing you, is used to convert from one mod to another without extra coding necessary. What this allows you to do is use, say, copper ore from one mod and aluminum ore from a different mod, combine them, and they will still provide the same result in the smeltery. Now we have fluid.aluminumbrass.molten, which is actually just molten aluminum brass, but Tinker's Construct doesn't actually recognize it right now. So, and you will need something to mold the cast with. So, say a brick is useful for this, really. One of the few uses for a vanilla brick, if you only have one mod installed, is for the smeltery. But bricks have gotten a lot more useful since installing these mods. Okay, and that is an ingot cast. As I'll show you, this casts perfectly good ingots, such as this one. And in order to make metal tools, you will need to make tool casts, such as, for instance, a pickaxe head cast. There we go. Wood works for this. Don't ask me why. I have no clue because I didn't code the mod. It's like you're pouring molten aluminum brass onto a wooden pickaxe head and it still stays intact. Makes sense. So I'll just drain the rest of this fluid aluminum brass so I can get on with the rest of this. Now I'm going to put 3 iron in here. The ore will be perfectly doubled, meaning there is no lost chance. There is better than this. I call it superior doubling, as it has a chance of creating more. And then there's tripling, which is in a select few mods. Some go as far as multiplying the output by 7. Now normally this process is highly intricate and unstable. The higher up you go, the more complex it gets. We wait for that to get. Now, you're probably wondering why I didn't just do this on, well, I did tell you, but just to prove a concept, I'm going to spawn in an iron bar to show you that the actual, no, right, it's iron ingot, but still. We'll spawn in an iron ingot to prove that you cannot use this to make a part out of metal because it won't work. So, your second pick, usually made out of a superior metal, is made exactly the same as the previous one. Now that we've got ore doubling down and tools, let's move on to some of the uses for these tools, such as farming. These gardens, as they're called, are from Pam's Harvest Craft and provide a bunch of random fruits and veggies when they're broken, with the exception of a few, such as the textile garden, which only drops cotton, and the water garden, which drops more than just veggies or fruit. Those poor sea creatures you cook up on a regular basis. One of the other things you may have noticed is that there's these little guys crawling around. They're chameleons. I have no clue whether or not they can be tamed, but they make real great armor. Well, they make dyes, which you can dye leather armor with. It does something really cool. You probably can guess what. But anyway, let's move on to another semi-complex topic. Power. There are several forms of power. You'll probably want to get into that next, because automation is huge in mod packs, especially this one, because it creates a lot of efficiency in your factories or whatever you want to build, really. Automation is huge. So I'm going to start out with one of the earliest forms of power you can get, which is redstone flux, but it's through generators. So usually the first generator you can craft usually is either a survivalist or furnace generator. I'll spawn in a furnace generator after showing you how the generators are crafted. The survivalist generator being the cheapest of them all. I'll spawn in a furnace one because, well, a couple of them, because they provide more power than the survival generator, but are less efficient. So I'll place these down here. Now, you'll need fuel for your generator. Thankfully, I've still got some wood planks. Now, you'll notice that it's generating power level 40.0. That is how much redstone flux per tick, not per second, that it is generating. A tick is usually around 3 seconds. So per 3 seconds, it is generating 40 redstone flux units. Now, you'll need some way to transfer and contain this power. For this, there are a number of ways to do this. The easiest one is a Fluix duct. I think that's what it's called. Or no, not Fluix ducts. It's called a flux duct. Sorry, Fluix is another mod. So flux duct, we want leadstone, and it's crafted with a glass block, 2 lead ingots, and 6 redstone. Now it can only transfer 200 per tick. Your next early option for power transfer is conduits. These are fun. You can place multiple conduits in a single block. And as you can see, it has a much higher output, but it requires slightly more materials. Composite binder composite for most of them. And for the earliest one, it's conductive iron, which is an alloy. So the alloy smelter is something like machines are excellent for creating new items, simply because that's what they're designed for. So I'm going to spawn in an energy storage unit. Not sure which kind of energy storage unit I want, but let's see. Leadstone. No, I want. Yes, let's get a hardened cell up. That works. And this hardened energy cell will contain up to 2 million redstone flux. Now you may think that's an excessive amount. It's not. It's actually quite low, as is 40 redstone flux per tick. So let's get a couple of these. Now that's much faster because it's draining power from all of them. Now that we've got power, we can start running machines. Let's see what machine to run first. Well, seeing as how I told you about the alloy smelter, let's run that first. An alloy smelter is made this way. A cauldron, 4 iron ingots, 3 furnaces, and a machine chassis, which is crafted with 4 iron bars and 4 iron ingots, and a basic capacitor, copper ingot, 4 gold nuggets, and 2 redstone make a capacitor. So we place that there. Okay, we're going to have to modify the configuration of this so that it outputs to the left side. This is oriented based on how this, your little indicator for how much power, is facing. Some mods is based on a direction, others is based on the facing. So you'll now notice that this can accept 20 redstone flux per tick, and it is charging slowly. Say we wanted to increase that. We'll need a capacitor for that. So let's get your basic capacitor in here. Oh, that won't work. So we'll need a double-layered capacitor, which is 2 capacitors, coal dust, and energetic alloy, which is made by glowstone, redstone, and gold in this furnace. So we'll upgrade that. And that is an alloy furnace. You can set it to furnace mode, alloys, furnace mode furnace, or furnace mode both. Now this I like because it shows its own recipes. But yeah, that is the alloy furnace. I usually craft this before crafting anything else and simply attach it directly to an energy source by placing it adjacent. Now, remember how I was talking about superior doubling? The sag mill, crafted like so, does that through the use of a grinding medium. The most common being flint. Now if I can find it. Here we go. As you can see, the main output is increased to 120%, the bonus to 125%, it reduces power by 15%. And that's power consumption, not power capabilities. So, the other thing you can put in here, which requires the alloy smelter to create, as well as the sag mill, depending on what mods you have installed, of course, is dark steel. More specifically, a dark steel ball. Okay. Here we go. This increases it to 150% main, 200% bonus, and 30% power reduction. We'll be using this for our demonstration. Iron ore gets put in. And as you can see, that's 2, but it increases the percentage of it doing something like this, which you just got. Ferrous material, metal, tin, and cobblestone. It also increases the chance of it doing more than just double. So, now alloys are fun too. So I'm going to go back to regular mode. So there are some alloys you can make just with powder. Invar is one of them. It is also extremely useful. So we are going to go into furnace only. And that's using a lot of power, so I'll need to generate some more. One thing you should know is that power is power, basically. You need to keep it at a decent level. There are ways of automating this. The easiest way of automating power creation is with vanilla mechanics. A hopper. So I'm going to actually spawn in several hoppers. So that works. Now we can spawn in chests. Okay. Almost regular oak. Okay. And that'll keep that filled for a while. There we go. Alright, so that's that. That should hopefully help you get started in modded Minecraft. I'll be uploading this as a series of tutorials, so stay tuned for next time.